So, y'all know I got a lot of love for Tulsi, and that love has been well earned and well deserved. Like I said, there's something about Tulsi that is really emblematic and representative of what being a millennial is all about. And Tulsi, if she won, would be the very first millennial president. Um, which I think she's 30, I want to say she's 35 or 36 right now. So she would be like within the last 2 years of the millennial like cutoff date. So that's important. And people don't really, I guess unless you're a millennial, it's hard to get. But most of this channel is watched by millennials. And so I'm assuming a lot of you all would get this fact, which is that being a millennial is an experience of evolution. And just like anybody else, we are all limited by our experiences. However, because of the unique nature of our experiences, we've seen transitions that no one else, and we've been like actively part of transitions that no one else has really seen. Like we were there when it was popular to play outside all the time, and then we saw the transition into staying inside and playing video games, right? We remember what it's like we remember pagers, like where people couldn't live a life without pagers. And now we're in the age where people can't live a life without cell phones. You remember Virgin Mobile brick phones playing Brick Breaker, but you remember like also how we have every app we could possibly ask for at this point. Remember playing board games, and now we play all of our board games on our phones. But my point is that we have the benefit of hindsight and a very unique perspective because we get this, we witnessed and saw the mistakes made by our predecessors. And then we use those experiences to then guide us to be different and be better than previously, which is actually different than the generation right before ours, because that generation was actually kind of governed with more of an authoritarian, do as I say, actually do as I say and as I do, damn near, as in do exactly what you were told to do. Don't ask questions, which is a little bit different than how our parents raised us. And we have a little bit of a different relationship with our parents. So this is important because observations seems to be a very millennial thing. We are very good at making observations, and Tulsi made a brilliant observation. And it's one that I can't in recent memory think of her making in the past, at least over the past 2 years. I was sure she felt this way, but it's being a Democrat, knowing that she was planning on running for presidency, probably prohibited her from expressing this to the degree she wants to. But as we all know, Tulsi has kind of been no holds bar as of late, so this tweet doesn't really surprise me all that much. Now, Tulsi took to Twitter and said this: short-sighted politicians and media pundits who have spent the last 2 years accusing Trump as a Putin puppet have brought us the expensive new Cold War and arms race. How? Because Trump now does everything he can to prove he is not Putin's puppet, even if it brings us closer to nuclear war. Where is the lie? Where is the lie that was told by Tulsi in that tweet? In fact, I would even, maybe elaborate and maybe even offer a small correction. I would say it's been about 4 years. Well, 3 years now, 3.5. The moment that they started elevating him as a Pied Piper candidate by giving him billions of dollars in free coverage, wall to wall, because all they were concerned about were their ratings rather than the truth. Once again, where's the lie? Because it wasn't true. Putin and Trump were not colluding, and we know that, right? We are aware of this. It isn't coming from me. Now it's coming from the Senate Intelligence Committee as well. Both the Democrats and the Republicans agreed he had no collusion with Putin, with Russia whatsoever. What I've been saying on this, once again, I'm not a fan of Trump. Y'all know that. But it's sad that I have to qualify my statements with that because people, for some reason, can't be objective. But he was never in collusion with Putin. It was a multi-pronged strategy to, one, in my opinion, bring on the new arms race. Two, demonize. First of all, you bring on the new arms race because of the money involved by the defense contractors and the CIA and all these people. Then you get to demonize Russia, right? Because Russia is what's standing. They're the only country really with power standing up to us in the Security Council. They're also the only country with power standing up to us in Syria, standing up to us in Venezuela, and is willing to stand up to us and with the Iran situation as well. They're willing to stand up to us basically anywhere we try and go. The United States doesn't like that because we want to be a hegemony, right? A hegemon. That's a word that I always confuse. But we want to be hegemonic in our actions. We want to be able to get away with anything and everything and not be questioned or challenged. When you demonize Russia, you get to finally have the people on your side whenever you're doing anything. Think about what the instances in Syria. How many times, whenever we're talking about the Syria conflict, whenever we're talking about the wrong that Donald Trump and Barack Obama and all of the imperialists have done there, and we finally seem like we're coming to an end to the death and destruction that has been the reality of the Syrian people. Somehow, some way, Putin gets brought up. Russia gets brought up. Oh, we can't end the war in Syria. We can't end the aid that has been used as a cover to give weapons to terrorists. We can't do that because Russia. What about Russia? Putin. Russia, Putin. What else do I have to say? I just said Russia and Putin. That means you should agree with war now. That's basically what they've been doing. Now, the third thing that they've done is set up the Democrats and the neoliberals for quote unquote success. And it was the Democrats who came up with this idea, which we found out through WikiLeaks. They elevated this man as Putin puppet. They gave him billions of free coverage. Then, on top of that, because of the lies, because people are very Hegelian in their thought process, they think it has to be A or B. They think if you're not our friend, you're our enemy. If you're not our enemy, then you're our friend. And if you attack my enemy, then you must be my friend. If you attack my friend, then you must be my enemy, et cetera, et cetera. When they attacked Trump, they assumed, because the neoliberals were primarily doing it, and even some of the neoconservatives, like McCain, when they attacked Trump, they assumed the people, his strongest supporters, his base, assumed that Trump was on their side. Even though the attacks were illegitimate and honestly giving Trump way too much credit because he isn't that intelligent to get away with colluding with another superpower to the degree that they're trying to claim he did. So now we have Donald Trump overcompensating like he always does. This isn't new. This is his personality. It's a megalomaniac type of thing. So what does he do? I'll show them I'm not Putin's puppet so they can't talk bad about me on the news. I'll pull out of a nuclear arms treaty. Whoa, wait a minute. What? I'll keep those troops in Syria. I'll keep bombing Syria whenever opportunity I get. I'll show them I'm not Putin's puppet. I'll pull out all the peace treaties around the world. I'll go to war with whoever they tell me to. Now, even though Tulsi was absolutely 100% correct in her assessment, you always get these people. This John Cipher, former CIA clandestine service. What a surprise. Oh, so this is a response to Tulsi's tweet. Oh, so Russia plays no role in what's happening? You are playing their game. It's not helpful. What? Russia plays no role in what's happening. Role in what? What are they playing? What role are they playing? I'm confused. Russia, if you've noticed, all of Russia's moves as of late have been reacting to the United States. They were not in Venezuela. Guess why they went? Because they saw that we were trying to establish a coup. They weren't in Syria. Guess why they went? Because, I don't know, we were giving weapons to Al Qaeda and ISIS. They react to everything we do, basically. Because what else are they supposed to do? We would wreak havoc throughout the world if there was another superpower to challenge us. Another response. It's Molly Jong Fast. I don't even know what she does, but she has a verified check mark. She seems to stalk Tulsi wherever she goes. She said Tulsi is the new Dana Rohrabacher, who was, I guess, a former speechwriter for Reagan. And someone said Tulsi is the Dana Rohrabacher of Jill Stein's. Like, what? They're just throwing out a bunch of buzz names. Like, what is Jill Stein? What does that mean? I don't get it. Tulsi's anti-war. She's Jill. That's like not an insult. Do you understand that when you say something like Tulsi is the next Jill Stein, and there are progressives scrolling to this and reading this stuff, they're like, really? Wow, maybe I need to be looking more into her if she's closer to Jill Stein than I originally thought. That's a good thing. Idiots. Like, Jill Stein is not unpopular. In fact, Jill Stein is wildly popular. Jill Stein was one of the mechanisms that allowed the Green Party to fundraise more money than they have ever fundraised in history, the last iteration of elections. So, whatever. Let's read some more of these replies. So you're with the Republicans on not being the oversight of the president? Good to know, and you'll get no support from me. Huh? You're good with Republicans on not being the oversight of the president. What does that mean? You're good with Republicans on not being... She's literally saying, maybe we shouldn't be emboldening him like this. Maybe we should stop doing the thing that is leading to Trump making horrific decisions to protect his own ego. Maybe. Just perhaps. I don't know. Let's continue. Look at this. Look at this. Any reasonable person can see that the fake president has worked in Russia's national interests since he took office with help from Putin. Any reasonable person except for the Senate Intelligence Committee that took 3 years, and, by the way, Robert Mueller, who took 3 years to conclude what we've been saying, which is, you all are liars. You're trying to cover up for the fact that Hillary got her behind handed to her in a situation where she thought she had a 99% chance of winning. And you're also hiding the fact that you did, in fact, cheat Bernie Sanders. You did, in fact, rig an election. And in fact, one more time, speaking of Jill Stein, you rigged it so badly in districts that would have favored Hillary, not only the primary, but in the general as well, that Jill Stein ended up winning a lawsuit to require paper ballots to be used in Pennsylvania when hand recount audits. Like, but that's what they're hiding from. That's where the Russian narrative started. Literally right before the convention. Because they knew that fairly, Hillary had no chance. Hillary lost at the convention twice. She lost, guys. She lost. That is why so many people, if you were at the convention, you know. I got a text at 6:45 in the morning, roughly, with someone telling me, we just counted and Hillary lost and they're making us count again. Like talking about delegates. Then they told me again, we just counted again and Hillary lost, but they're making us count again. But now there are ads on Craigslist to bring delegates in, so that it looks like she won. That's what I'm talking about. Like this is the stuff that doesn't get talked about, but instead they focus on the Russiagate narrative. I might just join the Democratic Party to make sure you don't get the nomination. Come for the Gabbard, stay for the Pete Buttigieg. Really? and the Russian bots are out in support. Somebody responded beautifully. Everyone, they posted a picture. Everyone I don't agree with is a Russian bot, a child's guide to media and government excuse making for political failings. Somebody else, are you running as a Democrat? Seems like you're on the other side of the fence now. Huh? So her saying, because she, mind you, once again, these are preloaded responses. These bots, and many of them are indeed bots, they read from scripts. They do. There is I'm going to talk to my friend, and I'm going to get her to tell me what the name of that the documentary is. Basically, when the Democrats started using bots in 2016, they created an entire industry of this. And so, in David Brock, which is where the term Brock bots come from, is like the pioneer of this idea being used in politics. And they read from scripts. Notice that almost none of them actually address the negative things she said about Trump. Notice that. They say, well, you're working for the Republicans. It's like, hold on. This is a whole tweet critiquing media and politicians. She doesn't say anything negative about the Democrats. One, she just critiqued media. Two, she actually critiqued Trump in the second half of the tweet. Then third, she's like, hey, everybody, we're getting kind of close to nuclear war. And they're like, but you won't critique Trump harsh enough or make the false association of Trump and Russia. So we don't even care about the nuclear war. Nah. This is wild to me. This is so crazy to me. Like, if you just go read this stuff, it's what's so bad is because a lot of Democrats who are verified accounts don't know that there are a lot of bots on Twitter, like a huge amount. Twitter has to do monthly and sometimes even bi-weekly purges of fake accounts. They don't do it because they're altruistic. They do it because it messes up with their money and their ability to predict accurately advertisers or what advertising will yield somebody. So they don't do it altruistically, but they do have to purge. Literally, I remember Kamala lost 800,000 followers in a day, in a 24-hour period. So these verified accounts are reacting because they don't actually have opinions of their own, right? Which you'll find out at the moment if you get involved in politics and you're young. First thing you'll find out, 98% of politicians don't have their own opinion. They read polls, they read Twitter, they read Facebook, and then try to develop an opinion off of what they think people are saying. However, last I checked, Tulsi is much more popular than what they would like to have people believe, which is why they keep bringing her on TV all the time. These politicians are stupid because, well, a lot of them end up losing their races after they critique legitimate progressives, after they critique legitimate academics and legitimate journalists, because they think, and which is the goal, right? That's the goal of bots, to guide and pervert the narrative. But this is the same behavior we saw last election with Bernie, and it made him more popular. So they can try it, but the more reaction she gets for the tweets, I mean, at first it didn't even get that many retweets. It got like 4,000 likes and 4,000, like in a couple of thousand retweets. And now it's up to like 11,000 because they keep responding to it like idiots, thinking that it's hurting the cause and it's actually helping her cause. But hey, this is why Tulsi still has a better chance to win than almost any other candidate except for Bernie. Best believe when Tulsi gets elevated, and she will be. If Bernie wins, if she wins, of course she's going to be. I'm sure Tulsi's not a petty person, but people she's close with, people she's friends with, I'm sure they have pretty long memories. And a lot of Democrats You're going to have a lot to answer for as far as your jobs are concerned. Because progressives have a very long memory. Ask Hillary Clinton, ask Joe Biden, ask Kamala Harris, ask Cory Booker, ask Hillary Clinton posing as Kirsten Gillibrand currently, and ask Elizabeth Warren. How realistic of a chance do they have right now after all the nonsense they pulled? So a lot of these politicians, a lot of these media personalities who are trying to behave in a nasty way towards Tulsi, we'll remember, just like we always do. And we don't want to hear any whining and crying like Kathy Griffin whenever the chickens come home to roost. Thank you for watching that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. Help us reach our goal of 500 patrons. You can do so by donating as little as $1 by clicking on the Patreon link in the description below. Don't forget, join us on Roku and JustNForm. You can follow us on Twitter and Facebook as well. And remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.